of going 35-20 the rest of the way. I think a lot of people probably thought that was ambitious. What can you say about what you guys were able to pull off?
Like I've always said, just our coaching staff and our players, just to have the mindset to go through tough times and dig your way out. And I give all the credit to our players and our coaching staff. The coach has done an unbelievable job, all season long, just staying positive, keep showing the guys the ways to get better. And then our players, like you said, for sticking with it. Not just the guys in the locker room, but Zoo was a big part of that. James was a big part of that. Kobe Brown. And so just, having the mental fortitude to just say, you know what, we're 6-21, that's over, that's behind us. Let's, start from here. And I give our guys a lot of credit. They really hung in there, and we've been able to get to this point.
Coach, before the game was a lot of talk about Cooper. You guys were able to do a great job. He shot 9 for 25. Can you talk about what worked for you guys to be able to slow him down tonight?
It didn't look like we slowed him down, but when you look at the stats, I guess he didn't shoot the ball well, but his ability to attack the basket, get to the rim, make plays for his teammates, and then with his size, having the ball handling skills that he has, puts you some tough positions, and to try to make him see a crowd, try to make him play in a crowd as much as we could, and then having Brooke back in that drop to protect the rim. I thought we did a good job with that.
Ty, this isn't the first time this season during this run that you've made a point to kind of credit James and Zoo and Kobe Brown, even though they're not here anymore. Like, why is that so important to you that they still continue to get the credit for helping turn this thing around? Because
they were part of it. They were part of it through all the struggles, and then we started playing well. They were part of it as well. And so you can't leave them out. It just didn't start the last couple of weeks or last few weeks. It was a slow grind throughout the whole course of the season. And they were on board, like, James, like I said, Zoo, Kobe, who played a little bit, but they were on board. They were part of having the mindset of, let's just forget 6-21. Let's focus on now, today. And those guys were part of that, and they did that.
Kawhi in the fourth quarter, obviously he didn't play tonight in the fourth. His right wrist has been heavily taped and bandaged the last couple games. He told us that he hurt it against Toronto, but tonight he comes out, has 34, was able to do what he was able to do in the first three quarters. Like, when he's feeling the way that he's feeling and he's still able to give you a night like this, like, what does that say about, just his level of leadership to continue to keep coming out and doing this?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing it by example, and just playing every night, through injuries, through things he's going through right now, and being able to produce and carry this team to wins. And so he's been doing it all season long, and we just want to run through the tape, finish the season strong, give everything we have, and see where we fall.
Coach, Kobe Centers is shooting 40% from three. Can you just talk about his effort and his play in his limited role with the Clippers?
Yeah, I think, to be a rookie, very poised. He takes and makes big shots, not afraid of the moment. And, when we call his number, he's always ready to go.
Coach, Derek had 11 and 10 rebounds. What does it say about him and his ability to just kind of conform to literally any role that you throw at him?
Yeah, we, losing two centers, we just told our guys we got to rebound by committee. But Jeremy and Connor and all those guys have been, Hogan has been on, DJ about crashing the glass. And so I think tonight he had 5 offensive rebounds. So just talk about getting extra possessions, more possessions. And he's been one of the guys who's really been doing that.
Coach, in the air. Oh, go on.
And Coach, you brought Dunn off the bench. I mean, you brought Dunn into the starting lineup after coming off the bench those couple games. Is that something we see these final 3 games?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you guys have won 7 of your last 9 against teams on the outside looking in, though. So now you got OKC, you got Portland, you got Golden State coming up. Without getting any practice time in, how do you see your guys, I guess, adjusting to where the things that you want to see your guys get better at, but without having that practice time, I guess you could say?
For tomorrow?
Just in general to finish off the season, because you won't have any practice, any extra days off.
Yeah, I mean, every game you play, every night, it's tough. It's tough to win. So it doesn't matter who you play. We've seen teams that beating guys and beating teams that you think wouldn't happen, but everybody's playing hard, they're competing, and they're still pros. And so you can't look at their record and say, oh, well, they should have won this game, or they should have, every night you got to compete, no matter what you're doing. And so for us, like I said, the small ball hasn't been great for us. That second unit, when they come in playing small, there's some things that we just got to, be able to, like you said, execute and fix. But we're not doing a good job with the second unit as far as being organized offensively. And then I think defensively we've got to continue to keep getting better as well. And so, we'll have a couple of times to have some walkthroughs and try to get better. But like you said, time is running out.
Coach, in the era where there's so much emphasis on bag work and being able to be creative with the dribble, Kawhi Leonard is the antithesis of it. He has a very simple, straightforward game. What, if anything, about his game makes you marvel and just awe at?
Just about how direct he is. Like I said, getting to his spots, knowing where his shots are coming from, and this year, just his ability to get to the free throw line. So each year, like, he's getting better at something, like getting to the free throw line this year, shooting more threes this year. And, as he's getting older, he's getting better.
And then you guys came out scorching 39 points in the first quarter. I know throughout the season you have been talking about just developing the killer instinct to put teams away. What do you need to see before that materializes?
I think, like you said, just, two of our centers getting hurt, and that's really taking a toll on, like, being able to get downhill versus drops when Yannick or Isaiah's in the game. And the same thing with Darius. And so they're switching 1 through 5 is kind of making us stagnant, and we're not able to attack the way we've been attacking before. And so we just got to find ways. We put stuff in that, we thought would help, but we got to just take the time to get into our spots and get into our sets and executing.
Ty, what do you like most about this Darius and Chris pairing as a starting unit together?
I don't know.
You haven't seen enough so far?
No.
How much more do you need to see?
I don't know. I mean, I just think, KD, what he brings to start the game defensively, I think, we need that energy every night, and so it allows him and DJ to guard, the 1 and 2 best players on the floor. Allows Darius and Kawhi to be, more offensive oriented. But KD with the pairing of a lot of guys is pretty good because of the way he plays, and unselfish, doesn't worry about shots, just more so worried about, wins and, how to find wins. And so that's what he's all about. And so he works with any unit.
You kind of touched on it, but I was going to say, a lot of the lineups you've used over the years since Chris has been here has always kind of come back to having Chris out there on the floor because of his impact. Is he just kind of that guy, like you mentioned, just...
Yeah, he's a winner. Whatever it takes to do, whatever it takes to win, that's what he's going to do, and so you love playing with guys like that who's not worried about shots, not worried about touching the ball. His impact's on the defensive end, and when he's making threes or getting to the basket, that's bonus for us. But we know every single night he wants to take the challenge of guarding the best player. He wants to take the one-on-one challenge every single night, and that's, like I said, for Darius and Kawhi, that's really good because KD and DJ can take on that role.
Ty, you guys are 1 win away from a winning season. It'd be the 15th straight winning season for this franchise. Only 3 teams in NBA history have put together longer streaks. It's the second longest active streak in sports behind the Yankees.
How many they got?
33, so you got a way to go. I did want to ask you, though, like, considering where you guys started this season, to be able to claw a winning season out of this, like, and get to 15, something 3 teams in history have ever done, like, would that be special for you?
Yeah, it's definitely special. It's a lot of credit to, like I said, to the guys in the locker room and our coaches. Like I said, they've done a phenomenal job. But the biggest thing for me is, like I said, making the playoffs. Like, to go from 6-21 and then making the playoffs, that's a huge accomplishment to me. And so that's got to be our mindset. I know guys are tired, guys are banged up. We got 3 games left, but we got to run through the tape and just finish strong and see what happens.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Good God Almighty. No, just.